This is ContactTalkRadio.com. Consciousness in action. And you are taking action into your consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Ping.fm, and Upsnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Welcome to Transformations with Tara Sutphen. Tara Sutphen is the author of Blame It on Your Past Lives, Soul Agreements, and The Abenda Chronicles. Grammy-nominated audios, videos, and MP3 series. You can find these MP3 series now at TaraInsight.com.
Welcome to Transformation with Tara Sutphen. And my guest today is Jason D McKean. Anyway, he's always so much fun. Last night, he did a moon phase class on looking at the cards and where the moon, how the moon was placed in each card. Mm-hmm. And not everybody, we were talking about it just now, because not everybody puts it in their tarot cards, some of the actual magic or, the seasons, because it's really all it is the phases of the moon are the phases of our lives, so there's no mystery to it other than it's the seasons and how the moon affects us because of the gravity factor. And Jason, so the voice of Om on over 1 million copies sold throughout the world. Jason and is really remarkable, and he's a great producer as well as being just an incredible, seer and reader these days. Thank you, Jason, for being on the show.
Good morning, Tara. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Awesome. Yeah, the class. Sometimes there's the symbology on the cards that are different in all the decks. It's like we look at the Rider-Waite as that basic kind of original tarot deck that is so widely used throughout the world, and that certainly we took a look at that, but also all these other decks that people use, and where the moon comes into play in it, and if it's in a waxing or waning position, this is all instructive as far as the energy where someone is at within their own cycle. You were mentioning how the moon is reflective of our own natural cycles. What is it, every 28 days or so?
Yeah.
That it goes through its through the moon cycle. It's like and it absolutely affects us, and and to be able to just understand a little bit more the energy on a certain card. Like you might have the two of the two of swords, right, where the person is sitting there in front of the lake and they've got the swords that are crossed across them, and then you have like a little waxing moon there, and that is pretty consistent through a lot of decks. We were finding that was like a pretty solid symbol in that card. There are cards like the High Priestess where she's holding down the moon with her foot. That's a pretty consistent relationship with the High Priestess, and so it was really fascinating to look at that.
Right. How do you feel what that means?
I'm against it. No, I don't know. What do you mean? How do I feel about what?
Well, I mean, how do you interpret it?
As far as the moon and the High Priestess?
Yeah, and how she holds down the moon.
Well, the High Priestess is someone who has an incredible amount of stamina, of strength, who's able to go between worlds, and I see her as having a special relationship with the moon. Not that she's like controlling the moon per se, but she is in partnership with it in being able to read the intuitive to be in that space without it wiping her out. So many people, so many empaths that we know, they get wiped out by all the energy that's surrounding them. It's like they take it in, but they take it on as well. And there's a difference between just being able to be sensitive and to take things in and to sort it out. But when you take things on, you're holding on to it. You're making it a part of your journey too. And sometimes you don't have to do that. A lot of times you don't have to take on other people's stuff, because it can be a lot. It can be a lot, and it can wipe you out. And the high priestess knows the boundaries, so that there's that easy navigation and all. But I don't know if that answered your question as far as, do you have like
no, I love that
added insight into?
I think it's great. No, added insight. Well, I love the moon and write about the moon, and but I cloak it. I cloak basically a lot of the astrology, and I tell you where I'm getting the astrology, but I don't talk. I try not to talk metaphysical jargon, astrological jargon, because I don't necessarily think that everybody understands that. So that's why when I write my articles and stuff, that
I learned early on. I learned early on as a reader that most querents, they don't want a lesson in like the history of the tarot or anything. If I get too deep in the weeds, they want to know about their life. They want to know, is my boyfriend cheating on me? It's like, well, his Jupiter is like, if you get too like in the weeds, they're like,
what does that mean?
They'll start to lose it. It's like, yes, he is cheating. Boot his ass.
Oh my gosh. So we're going to look at love today.
Oh, yeah. Great segue, right?
So if anybody wants to call in, the number is, let's see, 844-390
something.
Right.
Just make it up.
8255, I think. Let's see. I'm going to double check.
You should probably repeat that.
Yes, I'm going to repeat that. I did write it down last night. But, of course, I move it away from my desk. So, let me get it for you guys.
It's like I have a class coming up on Valentine's Day in Japan. That is a love and romance class, but it'll be in Japanese.
Oh, I did say it. Let's see. 844-390-8255. So I'll write it down so that I can tell you guys again.
Yeah, and it's kind of that time. Why is Valentine's Day? Why Valentine's Day? Why? I mean, it's like every day of every year is one to, be present in your relationships, is to acknowledge love. In the past, I don't know about this year, but just like getting a restaurant reservation for a nice dinner, that's like impossible unless you like.
Oh, that's good. No, most of the country is open. It's only California was kind of funny about that.
Yeah. So, but just usually, like getting some kind of reservation, or, for February 14th is like a hassle. But just like acknowledging, your partner in, you don't have to buy them chocolate every day or flowers. Is that what it is?
They want flowers and chocolate every day?
No.
No,
that seems like a little much, right?
Flowers, maybe. She's pretty romantic and sentimental.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something there. Should be doing it all the time. Yeah. Anyway.
All the time.
On the spot, Jason. That's fun.
So what what is important in relationships as far as like that daily practice.
Right. Because it could be that you make tea or bring coffee or just smile, say hi. What do you guys do?
Foot massages, tea, usually like green tea, back rubs, you know, it can be little things like that, you know, and
Favorite movie, cuddling.
no, I mean, sometimes
Right.
sometimes that it's mostly like you know, like washing dishes,
It can be.
you know,
Cooking together.
and I don't mind that. Cooking, I'm not that. I'm a noodle master, but I don't do so well with
Right. We call
anything
Jason
else.
the noodle master.
The noodle master. I'm like tea guy and noodle master, but the other things, cooking, no, not so good at it.
Mhm.
Boiling water, that's me. That's the essential part of making noodles
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
boiling water.
Yeah, I have two children who are prolific at cooking. You know, Cheyenne's a chef and a professional chef, and then William, you know, is an incredible cook. And it's funny, you know, because you know Hunter, he's cooks with his girlfriend, and so now she's taught him how to cook.
Wow.
So it's been great. It's been great. You know, finally he really kicked in because I believe if you can read, you can cook. Actually, you just have to have a little patience and do it.
That is, yeah, it takes patience. It takes I was doing an exercise the other day where I was making an omelet, and I was like standing over it, like just showering it with gratitude,
Yeah,
with love.
that's an important because if you don't have much patience for your cooking, then you know it can taste like you didn't have any patience for your cooking. So I'm a fast, like I'm a, you know, a fast cook usually, you know, because I don't like, you know, I don't salt stuff. And, you know, so I'm, you know, healthy eater pretty much. So the thing is that I put a lot of love in it and everybody loves my cooking. My kids sometimes say they don't, but of course they're great chefs. So, you know, they put a lot of, I mean, amazing amount of time and patience. Cheyenne, oh my gosh, she can make an egg salad sandwich that tastes incredible. I mean, you've never had anything like it. You know, like this is the best egg salad sandwich I've ever had. You know, she's just incredible that way. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, so I was at one of those restaurants that she was working at, and she made a hamburger, but it was like, oh my God, it was like, oh, you know, it was like, it was a great hamburger.
Yeah, she's just incredible. She's an incredible chef. But you know, I mean, it's a nice thing to have.
So
That wasn't our strong point. You know, it wasn't. I mean, I had a family to feed for many years, so that was my strong point. But and then I had, you know, two sets because I waited 10 years to have more children. So, you know, it's like, okay, here we go. Got a whole new set to feed for 20 years. So I was on the feeding cycle for a long time. Yeah.
I pulled a card.
And now it's for the dogs. Every day. Cook for the dogs.
I pulled a card to like just look at the aspects of love, like what's important in a relationship, maybe to like, you know, keep it keep it going. So I just pulled a card. Communication, the Page of Swords, and my Page of Swords is surrounded by butterflies, which is kind of literally my household since Sue raises butterflies.
Truly butterflies.
But being able to have conversation that is not just, you know, where you're on autopilot, where you're not just you know, talking about things on a certain surface level, but where you're able to go deep and talk about you know, those areas of where you're the direction that you're moving in, areas that can open up and be a catalyst for growth, for change.
Right. Right.
And, is it always on your shoulders to be the one, maybe it's to, start it, to create the space for it. Not everyone, not a lot of guys necessarily are that way. But there are a lot of guys who are, and especially in the metaphysical realm. It's like they are open to just, talking about their hopes and dreams and what it is that they want in a relationship too.
Right. Or just, well, for me, it's always been best guy friends. Jess Stern, who is our best friend, Jason's best friend as well. Scott's best friend, our other brother. So, he was just incredibly intellectual. And that's where I love to talk about concepts and ideas. And and you can get that way with, I have people all over the world I talk to that I enjoy their minds, women and men. But communication is a big key in a relationship. It's not something I have Bentley to talk to.
How's his mind?
Sometimes I'm here. Huh?
How is his mind?
Well, he's snoring right now. You might have thought it was my stomach. But
Yeah, I was just being polite. I wasn't going to say anything.
With his little bone right next to his mouth there. Pretty cute. Yeah, I give him Nylabone. So he's all about it right now. Yeah. Sleeping away. He's dreaming.
So what do you see? Because you have
cards. I chose the Four of Pentacles.
What do you see in that?
Well, I see that, love is a state of the mind. Romance is a state of the mind. And to stay in the zone. And there's a purity with that. And it's not about being wishy-washy. You don't go into, I'm a big, in friendship and in love, you're consistent. You're consistent with the person. There's no two ways about it. You're going forward with who you're going forward with, and I think that's a problem, with a lot of people. They're not consistent in their lives. They like change or they think they like change. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think that beauty and harmony and going forward easily and looking deeper into yourself and being accessible is nice, but not necessarily having to be too demure. And creating a nice home base, like creating nice food, putting love into the food, having some patience, taking time to create at home. Because, everything, all love starts in the home. All beauty starts in the home. The foundations of life are about creating it within yourself. Cleanliness, beauty, happiness, being okay with yourself generally, nourishment, it all starts in the home. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so it's being in your body, mind, and spirit, and, really feeding your intellectual capacity and not with just junk. Yeah. Talking about other people or putting people down. I never like that very much. So, I'm always backpedaling when somebody puts somebody else down, oh no, we have to get back on track. I don't mind psychologically seeing where people are at. I just don't want to put them down for that. I just see where people are at, if they need some help. Where is it that you can step in, or you have to let them learn on their own, and not to be overly mothering, overly anything, but supportive. Absolutely. I believe in support because I believe in consistency. So that's where, for me, love is not being wishy-washy. And gifts, that this has a nice, beautiful gift in it. See the Four of Pentacles. It's a gift. And this card is basically refers to happiness after a delay. So you may not be really happy right at that moment, but if you keep trying, then you're happy. So just keep at it. And so, I was talking about this a few weeks ago. When I'm talking to people at different parties, different places, somebody will say, "Oh, that woman is so beautiful. I really want to talk to her." And I said, "Well, why aren't you? Why aren't you going up to say hi? You're just gonna, this is the opportunity. So where are you not fulfilling the opportunity?" But a lot of times I realize, as I just talk to them, that they've already dated her. She got old. They married her. She began to nag them. They already had 10 kids. All the kids, some of them were just terrible and some of them were great, but most of them were terrible. They're spending too much money. So it's just all over the place in their mind. They've already had the relationship and she died within 5 minutes. Yeah.
Wow. That's quite the rich fantasy.
Yeah, but I'll talking to people and it's like, oh my goodness, you just married her and dumped her.
All right.
Yeah, you're just okay, can't do that. So you don't even say hi. Yeah, you don't even step into any sort of destiny.
Yeah, I mean it's funny because it's one is they're free to do anything that they want, right? As far as if that's how they treat their relationships, that's fine. But are they being fulfilled? Does it work for them in the long run, or is it just a way of having this kind of weird sense of control in the moment? Where it's because relationships are usually those places that we take a leap of faith, that and we aren't looking to necessarily control the other person. We're looking to find someone that is complementary to us. Yeah. It's a relationship of choice, and we're looking to find fulfillment, find happiness, as a general rule. Are we all wired for that? Do we get into our areas of well, I'm going to go in and I'm going to change this person, Yeah. I mean, that's just reality too, right? Where there can be annoyances, it's it's like my wife is.
Or do women do that generally?
But both do it, right? As far as it's I'm only happy if you just kind of stay within this realm. If you go out of that, if you laugh too much, if you kind of laugh at the wrong things, or if you if your behavior is just a little bit outside that realm, then I start to freak out. And,
right.
And do we kind of train each other so that we can make it for the long haul? Yeah, I mean that's just a real thing too. But it's like having a fairly similar frequency. If it's just really off, then it's just going to be a nightmare, and you'll get your clients like I do, where that are just complaining all the time about stuff. It's just this is I'm not here to just either be a referee or fix these things. It's one has to have the awareness within themselves to see what works and what doesn't, as far as a relationship that is a romantic one, a partnership like that. It's important. It's so important to feel supported and to feel like you're building this family unit. and if it's not something of blood, where it's like that family structure, if it's one by choice, then guess what? You do have a choice in it. You have a choice in how things, if you stay with that person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. True. What you're willing to, compromise in the relationship.
Yeah, and there's always compromise. There's all successful relationships will have those areas of compromise, because no one just has it all figured out. But is there this equilibrium in it? That's why I see like a card like the Six of Pentacles or so, where there's this the scales in it, and it's the card of give and take. If you're someone who just gives and gives and gives and gives and gives and gives and gives in it, it's like you're just going to deplete yourself. You wipe yourself out. And so those areas that you can receive in and recharge yourself, it's like, you can balance it out. You can make it work. But if it's, you can, this is like, I think, part of the, sometimes the difficulty of it. It's like relationships that they'll start off as one thing, but as they deepen, then that's where, someone can be more fearful of like losing a situation or so. And so they can diminish either themselves or the, it's like another person will start taking more and more and more. And then it's just harder to change it.
Right. It's like training early, like what exactly you expect and what somebody else expects.
It is about being very present in it.
Yeah. And it is surprising how people don't communicate very well, because you want a relationship, and then all of a sudden what becomes of the relationship isn't exactly what you had in mind. Yeah. And people have their feelings hurt very easily, and they can act out in all sorts of crazy ways. I've seen that a lot too. There's like, okay. Yeah. I mean, not for me personally. Hasn't been there for a while, but but I'll get there again.
Maybe we should look to see when.
Oh, should we now? I think we butchered me last week. We don't really need
Did we butcher you? No. Although I do like say that to my students and all, it's like, okay, we're going to put you on the chopping block now. As far as when it's time to read them.
It's interesting about love. When we are reading, it takes two people on the to read when you're reading and trying to help somebody find love. Whereas I'm so surprised by when people are really in their zone and they're flowing with something, because I have to talk about this one client of mine who's just incredible, as far as she is somebody who is a recipient of a transplant. But when we've been working together, we work together quite often, because I find that when people are working with you consistently, they get really in the zone of really creation. And so she wanted to find a boyfriend, because she was spending too much time with her ex-husband. She's early 30s. So she was spending too much time with her ex-husband. She thought, oh, I need a boyfriend. And so we put it in with her, during all these transplant type of hypnotherapy sessions I was doing with her. And sure enough, within 3 months, she had a boyfriend. Great boyfriend. Awesome boyfriend for her. And he wanted to give her, his kidney. And
the boyfriend did?
Boyfriend did right away. And it was just so cute. And he saw if he was a match, and he was a blood match, but he wasn't. You actually have to be a match for the kidney. So he wasn't match. But I'm telling you, you know, she's just a champion. This one's a champion. But yeah, so if you're ready, and you know, just by the suggestions and embedding them into your mind and going for it, you know, but it's that being ready for it and calling in the right flow for your life, then it happens. But if you have any resistance, now that's when it gets shaky. And the other person, and wrangling in the most perfect person, is a really odd thing as well, you know? It's just an odd thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How so?
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're trying for a person who's actually going to benefit you. You know, like a lot of women, we'll just take women, for example, because there's a lot of men who have lists as well.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, their lists are pretty clear cut, you know, but women's lists are, you know, like they don't watch sports. They don't, you know, that they're into whatever I'm into, you know, these sort of things is specifically. But the bottom line is, you know, you need to kind of arrest from having to be with somebody all the time, you know, because there's an expectation of, you know, that you're on all the time. So if you could kind of balance it with the compromise, that's when it comes, you know, so much better.
Send them to their man cave. It's like, I'm tired of you right now. Go to your man cave. Go watch your game. Go build your shelf.
Like that. You shouldn't say that. Yeah, build your shelf. Build your, you know, whatever it is. Yeah. The thing is but that's true. Is to, you know, compromise, to be willing to. So, yeah, because you're not going to think the same. That's the thing with two people. Nobody's the same. Nobody. So the more that you think that you're going to be the same with somebody, you're not. To whereas, you know, I had one of my favorite clients a couple of years ago. He told me that, you know, God, you in a relationship, it's really going to be hard to find for you, your counterpart. Where I thought, oh, that's so weird. What a weird thing to say, that I'm going to find that it's so hard for me to find my counterpart. Because I don't think I expect, well, maybe I do. You know, but the thing is, you know, there's a certain level of intensity I want. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's like no couch potatoes. No couch potatoes.
Oh, you know, I wouldn't be able. No, but I don't want somebody out really wild out there too. You know, like too fast for their own good. Yeah. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's kind of an interesting mix. Intellectually and
yeah. I mean, do you feel that you know, with experience, is there a narrowing of a list, or is it like well,
you know, I don't think you should have a list. I think you should, you know, go by the general rule of, you know, somebody attracts you and that you're willing to be on an adventure. Because that's where everybody gets caught. You know, they don't want to change. Mm-hmm. Where are you ready to go on the adventure? Yeah. You know, like there's certain things you really don't want. Somebody who's habitually trying to do themselves in, you know, in any capacity.
Right.
I mean, and that could be somebody who sleeps too much or doesn't exercise at all or only eats junk food. You know, I mean, you could, let alone, you know, drugs, alcohol, and cigarettes, whatever it is that you don't want to deal with. I mean, you know, there's some things that you just don't want to deal with. Or, you know, they race cars up and down the street at 100 miles an hour. You might not want all that. Yeah. Or that they're rude to everybody. You don't know. You don't know until you know what you're, you know, certainly not willing to put up with. Yeah. And then there's, you know,
well, I think you've just mentioned about 80% of men right there.
What's that?
Gone off your list.
Off your list.
Drugs, smoking, alcohol,
Well, I mean,
driving fast cars.
well, it's not. I said habitual, not that they can, on the freeway go, they can go out of their way. But it's, I mean, if you're on streets and children play or something, you learn a lot about a person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that sort of.
So
yeah.
So you were saying that, like, looking at like the basics or the qualities there, and the qualities of attraction too.
Yes. Right. Because some people just want to take anybody they can find because they don't trust that they can wait. There's no patience, no patience in cooking, no patience in dating, no patience in, communicating with a few people, no patience in, not everybody's going to be perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, but there are ones that are more perfect than others, certainly, as far as just matching like a general like frequency or a bandwidth there, so that you can have shared experiences. I mean, I've been with people before, not romantically, but with people who we're in the same environment and we're experiencing the like the same people, but their impression, their perception of it is completely different than what you were seeing. And to this like kind of weird, like on other ends of the spectrum kind of thing. And is that someone that you can build a future with, if what you're seeing is totally different from someone else?
Mm-hmm.
Can you build a successful partnership with that, down the road? Can you be consistent, or do you just like, if you're that person who's like just going, I don't understand, I'm seeing this, they're seeing this, it's like, I don't understand. Does it leave you kind of in this place of where you're always like walking on eggshells with this person, because they're like, they may be like, it's like, who knows what they're thinking. So
right, where that happens a lot too, whereas you're having to walk on eggshells with the other person around you.
mm-hmm.
As you're saying the wrong things, you're laughing at the wrong jokes, you're talking to the wrong people, all of that. Yeah, it becomes interesting. Yeah, in a relationship.
Yeah, and it may be that there's again, because not everyone is always on the same, in that place of matching. Is it if there's agreement within the like most of the areas, and this can be spiritually, it can be politically, it can be financially, it can be how it is that your family units are all, how you perceive all of those dynamics and all. If these are all on the same page, then you can generally have a sustainable household. You can make it work. You can be in that Four of Pentacles place where there's that alignment there in the realness of it. But if there's like too many areas that are just like, it may be exciting, right? It's like, well, I don't know what's going to happen. This is like really great. There's a lot of just energy, but it can like can blow your mind in a bad way too.
Right.
It can just keep you so off kilter that you don't feel like you're getting anything done in your life. Like you're building towards anything.
Right. Yeah, because you have to look at that is an interesting. When I was married, we were going in the same direction, and I could keep up, and then he had to try to keep up with me. But that was it. As we could, it's keeping up sometimes with the other person as well. because I was learning and growing at such a rapid rate and doing my own thing. Became prolific in what I do. So that was a great thing. Yeah. But yeah, you're keeping up with somebody else as well.
Yeah, it is
the same, same kind of area when you first get together. And then all of a sudden it changes.
It can. Yeah, it can absolutely change. It's like my profession has changed, during the course of my marriage. And so it's like, adapting to that, making sure that that's still a compatible place to be in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
Because it means that your routines change, your schedules change. It's like the amount of people and all that you interact with and all that changed.
That changed big time for you.
Yeah.
You were like talking to barely anybody. I mean, just wholesalers and, different advertising people and art. I mean, you were completely in the production world. Mm-hmm. And then now it's, you're in the general public, period. Yeah, it's great. I like it. But how it affected your marriage, I haven't like sat down and really talked to Sue Marie about it.
Yeah. So I'm going to choose another card to see what else is important.
Okay, sounds good.
I was thinking of this card, the Queen of Wands.
Yes.
Because it's the keeper of the flame. It's the it is important to have a sense of your own purpose, your own autonomy, so that you can be that strong sense of yourself, bring that into the relationship again, so that you're not diminishing yourself, that you're not feeling like you're having to be someone else. Mm-hmm. Because in like the relationships of intimacy, mm-hmm. it's like you have to be present, you have to show up. And if you're not, then you're retreating, somewhere else. And that's not healthy. Not in a primary relationship. So keeping the fire going, keeping that, because that's why you wake up in the morning. That's the reason that you you do that, for yourself. Mm-hmm. So that you're feeling that you have meaning.
You're right. Here's somebody who needs to say hi. He needs to say hi.
Mr. Bentley. Hello, Mr. Bentley.
Beanie.
Raw.
Beanie. He's getting up from a nap. Yeah.
Good boy.
He's a good boy.
So any added part to the Queen of Wands as far as relationships?
So for me, I would say that this came up, and I would say that it's a judgment card. Mm. So the judgment card, I would say that, that it's not a yellow brick road. It's really a maze that we're in. And so, we're always, not stepping into just a straight path. So it's all about probably, the many changes that will happen in your life. It's about how you're judged and how you judge yourself. And so it would be about if you're, it's for me, I always say it's always taking the high road over the low road. You can take the low road, but good luck on that. Because the high road's just easier. It's just easier. And so that's in relationships, that would definitely be part of it. is to take the high road. So you're wanting to put somebody down for what they believe in or their concept today, or them making bad choices and jokes or whatever it is, you know. The thing is that if you it's all stages in life, you know, all stages. Being good to the kids, being good to your families, being good to your, you know, the food you eat, just looking at it every day, whether it's sunshine or snow, being thankful, you know, being in gratitude, because life is short, you know, and nobody gets out of here, you know, by being 10,000 years old. No, nobody. So we gotta rock it. So
Yeah,
it's all
that
about communicating clearly as well.
that judgment card, you know, it's like there's that one layer of it too that is super important in relationships, and that's that part of forgiveness, where you know, in order to stay on the high end of it, then you know, if your partner, you know, has a moment where they, you know, get caught up in that, you know, that moment where, you know, they say something that's stupid, you know, but if they're you know, looking to you know, be sincere about, you know, that moment, changing it, you know, then where you know, you allow for that. And also, you know, it's like I've had to you know, I've been in the doghouse many a time with my dogs. No, actually my dogs they don't have a doghouse. It's like they have free reign of the place. It's like they're not relegated to a spot, a corner. Just I am, but when I screw up. But you know, that is like an ongoing um it's a measure of how it is that we can you know, just see our own uh I mean, I want to say like imperfection, or you know, where it's like, you know, no one's a master of relationships. It's like we're all, you know, learning new things and all, and it's a measure of that, of our ability just to say, you know what, you know, you had your moment there, you screwed up, but you know, I still love you.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah. The judgment isn't harsh.
Where it's not, you know, we don't, you know, just condemn someone to eternal damnation, you know,
Yeah.
not for, you know, an infraction that is like again, like something momentary, where I mean, you know, if something is, you know, habitual, if it's you know, extended, you know, then it's like, you know, then there's an issue, right? Then
Right.
there's something that has to be
Right. Because
dealt with.
right. They may not be only hurting their own lives, but they're hurting your feelings.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
can be happening over and over for sure.
So there is a discernment, you know,
Right.
you know, it's not about, you know, someone who hits you and says, oh, I'll never do it again, you know, and then
That
they
happens.
continue doing it, right? That's not about like, well, I forgive you, you know, things happen. It's not about that. It's about, you know, being able to recognize those serious situations, and to,
Right.
you know,
Well,
either
and
remove yourself or
you have to see sometimes the part you're playing in it as well.
mhm.
You know, what part are you playing? Who are you? You know, are you a savior? Are you an enabler? Are you, you know, fathering, mothering? You know, are you the party goer with the person? Are you truly creating a life? Or are you creating friendship, creating love? You know, these are all really important when you're on this journey.
Yeah, and those are the aspects of, how a relationship deepens. It's like when someone is in like a dating stage, they're just seeing if they like a person, if there's a feeling, if there's anything that feels like it can deepen. But one can't stay at that level, that dating level, throughout the whole relationship. It's like we're just not wired that way. And if we are, if someone is just staying at one level in their relationships, then that's an issue. It's where it's just like that first date kind of, it's like, we need you to like, deepen. We need you to like, get invested in it. So relationships, as important as they are, they're complicated. I think that's why they're the most, asked question, for psychics and tarot readers and all, because they are so important. They're so like profound in our life.
They really are.
And yet, it's like they're not just an easy solution within. It's like, well, this is exactly what needs to happen. It's like the person in it has to see themselves. They have to see themselves in it, so that they're making clear choices in it.
Yeah, it's about clear choices. We are clear thinking humans. There is no confusion. We know what we like. We know what we don't like. List them on a piece of paper if you have to. Yeah. And, I think that sometimes a lot of people, they get kind of misconstrued with love, because people love each other. There's people who love you, but don't want to really do the whole relationship thing, or they don't want to do, they're not extending themselves, and they feel compelled not to, and how their intuition is working or not working is kind of an interesting thing as well. Yeah. So
where can people find you, Tara?
TaraInsight.com, TaraInsight.com. Where can they find you, Jace?
You can find me here on Facebook at Jason.D.McKean, Jason D McKean. Also, my website is jasondmckean.com, JASON McKean, MCKEAN.com.
Great. So anyway, what classes do you have coming up?
Well, I've got the love and romance one in Japanese. So for all of our Japanese listeners out there,
nice.
There's that one. I'm going to do an English version too.
Okay.
Either next week or somewhere around there. But I post them as events on Facebook. So Facebook is a really great way to just keep in the loop with that. Are
you going to do the moon phase class again too?
Upcoming. It's just down the road.
That's a fun class.
It really was.
Was
really interesting, because you bring in the decks that you use. If you use the Scapini deck, if you use the Marchetti deck, the Gilded.
Oh yeah.
Then looking to see what where the moon symbols are on those cards.
Yeah, I love it. We should do lots of fun ones. That sounds fun. Yeah. I talk about getting my seminars back online, as far as online and in Sedona. So, and then Los Angeles, here too. So thank you for being on the show today, Jason.
Absolutely. Total pleasure. It's always great to see you. And
you too.
I love you.
I love you too. Okay. Blessings, everybody. Lots of love.
Thank you for listening to Transformations with Tara. Tara hopes this program brings guidance and insight towards a better tomorrow. If you have any questions or inquiries, or would just like to know more about Tara Sutphen's workshops and seminars or private sessions, please visit her website now at TaraInsight.com. Until next time, many blessings.